In life, I feel like we all were scared of something. This could be something online, such as those many famous scary videos and commercials, such as Smile Dog, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, and this weird ad that had this random person screaming at you after the car passed by. We also got scared by many things in real life, such as the cartel, those killer clowns that we were scared of for some reason. I mean, our ancestors would be disappointed as hell if they saw this. And some people are even scared of death. Can't blame them though, I mean, you could die at any moment. This can even count for games, such as that one maze game, Five Nights at Freddy's, and I guess Hello Neighbor, Slender Man, or Granny, any of them honestly. And even phobias such as people being scared of sliced rocks for some reason. Boo! Did I scare you? People being scared of elephants, which I can't blame them though. I don't want to get crushed by these types of creatures. Or people being afraid of women, even though a woman gave birth to them. Unless if it was a man. I mean, the pregnant man emoji has to mean something at least, right? And some people are even scared of creepypastas, such as those infamous cartoon creepypastas, like how the main character's in a coma or something like that. I mean, why do they always choose that one? Why is it always coma? It's so unoriginal. Jeff the Killer, or our topic for today, Timothy the Ghost Engine. I could go on and on and on, but I think we should stop it there. Anyways, whatever we were scared of, I bet that years later, we're gonna look at these things, and we're gonna be like, holy shit, how did I get scared by this? Am I a dumbass or something? Well, that's basically me and many other people with Timothy the Ghost Engine. At one point, we used to poop our pants every time we looked at it. But now we just poop on him by how bad it is. Anyways, our main idea of this video is to show how this entire story started and how it would impact Thomas the Tank Engine's show and its fandom. So yeah, let's just get on to the video. Before we can talk about the impact this dude has done, I think we need to talk about a quick little history lesson. A while back, during filming of Tatmar, there was this face, and this face was made by Jeremy King, which was made for David Mitten, as a little funny joke. This story will be important later on. A couple of years later, there's this thing called creepypastas, where usually it would be a show or a game where it would have something creepy in it. I think we all heard of a creepypasta once in a while, and at the time these creepypastas were pretty famous. And because of that, there was also a Thomas one called Ghost Train. No, not the episode, like there was an actual creepypasta called Ghost Train that was either made in the late 2000s or early 2010s. And it was made by Your Band Killer 135. And here's how the story goes. Have you ever watched Thomas the Tank Engine as a kid? Then you might have watched the Ghost Train episode. If you haven't, then here's a summary of the plot. Percy tells Thomas a ghost story. Thomas wasn't scared, so when Percy has an accident, that makes him all white, and he pretends to be a ghost to scare Thomas, and he did scare him in the end. Seems kid-friendly, but there's one rather morbid thing about it. There was a missing scene at the beginning of the episode that is a little too creepy for little kids to see. If you search the episode on YouTube or something like that, the first thing that will hit you is the opening. If you want to see it, then I'll put an episode up for you. How people know it is because when the episode first aired on TV, it showed the deleted scene. Some kids were unlucky enough to see it. I watched it with my son. The episode starts out with a bunch of humans going into a new train. He was silver. His model was the same as Thomas. He had the number 0 on him, so this had to have been the first engine on the railway. When all the passengers got on board, the train steamed away. All steam ahead, Timothy, his driver shouted at him. Sure thing, Timothy replied. Timothy was speeding through like the world was ending. They were coming to their first stop, but when the driver tried to pull the brakes, but Timothy kept going. He was going as hard as he can. Timothy, what are you doing? showed Timothy's face. He had the most sinister look on his face. It then showed Timothy heading towards a cliff. Timothy, don't do it! You will kill us all! His driver screamed. It showed Timothy's face again. His eyes were pitch black. My son ran to me, crying and grabbing me and looking away from the TV. But I kept on watching. Timothy said something, but his voice is so deep and warm at this point that I couldn't understand it. It showed the cliff Timothy was heading towards, and he was inches away from the edge, and it cut to a view of the other side of Sodor. But you can still hear the screams of the people on board as they fall to their death. Then cut to the part where the ghost train is on the bridge. The reason this was removed is because parents were complaining that this wasn't kid-friendly. And I have to agree. I searched all over the internet for the missing scene, but I found nothing. Contact me if you have it. So if you want it, here's the episode without the removed scene. And it's the episode Ghost Train. So, that wasn't that good, honestly. Don't get me wrong, the story was amazing, but I feel like if they actually showed a little bit more proof, and instead of making up all of these things that would look pretty obvious that was a lie, then I feel like it would be somewhat believable. I would talk about many other problems, but it would take me like 5 minutes, and I mean, I don't want to stay here all day just talking about the plot. So let's just end it off with, well, it's not really that real and it's pretty obvious. But we did believe it. I mean, it was at the same time when we believed that all of these characters would come to CGI. Anyways, at the time, many people thought that this was the best Scary Thomas story ever. So much so that people wanted to make videos out of it. And after this story, someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but remember that face that Jeremy made? What I'm guessing is that it was one of those behind the scenes videos that were pretty famous at the time. Or it was on the wiki at the time, or it was on SIF. This person named The Iron Engine found it and thought about making it Timothy's face. Little did The Iron Engine and your band killer 135 knew that they would make a big impact on Thomas the Tank Engine's fandom and its show. So let's go back over 11 years ago. Last year, Thomas the Tank Engine got bought by Mattel, the toys were pretty good, and there's now a new movie called Tale of the Brave. And while you're watching the movie, you see Bill and Ben and so many cool characters and whatnot, and so many cool locations. And then, when Thomas is pulling these heavy loads of trucks, you see this guy, Timothy, and you're like screaming at the screen in the theaters and saying, "Ah! It's the reincarnation of Timothy!" It was Chicken Jockey before Chicken Jockey. Well, I mean, I was the only one who was screaming at the screen. Everybody else was trying to tell me to shut up, so yes, I got a little bit too crazy and wild. Anyways, Timothy the Oil Burning Engine is a pretty good character, I'll say. I don't really know that much about this character, but he's just an oil burning engine who just tries his best to do his jobs and gets rage baited by Bill and Ben pretty easily. And to be honest, there's not that many similarities from Timothy the Oil Burning Engine and Timothy the Ghost Engine. The only similarity is their name. And I don't think the writers were trying to, well, include Timothy the Ghost Engine in their, well, show. But yeah, that's it. Another cool character, don't have that much to say, recommend to watch Unlucky Tug's video and whatnot, I don't know. Next year, in 2015, when Thomas the Tank Engine just turned 70 years old, there was this one guy named Kane Fan, and Kane wanted to give Timothy more background, more detail, better backstory and whatnot, so he made an entire movie in several different parts. Unfortunately, if I talked about this entire movie, then we would be here for like a long time, and I usually would not mention figures like him who bully like children who have autism. Fucking loser. But whenever you're talking about Timothy, it's basically impossible to not talk about Kane, because he was the one who made Timothy a lot more famous. But no worries, there's still a lot of other people who did their own adaptations of Timothy the Ghost Engine, which I will be talking about later. And well, that's where the history of Timothy the Ghost Engine basically ends. There's nothing else to really talk about, really. People still use him in their Halloween videos and whatnot, and honestly, I can't complain, honestly. I don't care whatever characters you want to add. I mean, add your OCs and whatnot, I don't care. Anyways, it's time to talk about my favorite videos about Timothy the Ghost Engine. The first video I would love to talk about is a video called Thomas and Friends Short 41, The Tedious Tales of Timothy. which was made by Diesel D199. This video has the same elements of the original story, just a couple of things switched around, like how the driver and fireman uncoupled the coaches from Timothy before he was gonna fall, or how Timothy was saved the next morning but then was scrapped. And when this story ends, apparently James didn't say the right one, and Percy tells them that he's gonna tell the actual story, and that's where the video cuts. This video was pretty amazing. As someone who does 3D animation, I like a lot of the models and the lighting a lot. The only complaint I have is, well, there's literally no lip syncing. But I kind of understand why. Diesel D199 was not that talented as an animator, so I kind of see why. One other complaint I have is that, well, some of the sets look a bit empty. I feel like a couple of scenery like bushes, trees, and whatnot could have helped, but overall it's a pretty amazing video. Recommend to give it a watch. Next video is Thomas and Timothy, which is made by that Marklin. The video opens up to the engines in the shed, and Gordon was talking about all his family members. And while Gordon was talking about his family members, Thomas soon got reminded of his brothers. Many of the engines were surprised that Thomas had, well, family members. Gordon soon belittles Thomas, but Edward shuts him up and tells Thomas to talk about his family members, and Thomas did so. A while back, before Thomas was on the NWR Railway, he had only 9 brothers, who were all older than him, and one of their names was Timothy. They all worked very hard in their little harbor and yard, always shunting for the bigger engines, and Timothy, who is the oldest of all of them, always cared about Thomas and his other brothers, always being kind to them, always telling them good words and wisdom. And sometimes Thomas doesn't even see Timothy as an older brother. He sees him as a father. And heck, Timothy even stands up to one of the bigger engines who was making fun of Thomas because he derailed a truck. It was very obvious that Timothy loved Thomas and cared about him, and hoped he never left. And he always told him to take opportunities when they're presented. But one day, Thomas was bought by the NWR, which is extremely good, but was very unfortunate for Thomas because he would not be able to see his brothers again. But Timothy didn't mind. He didn't get mad or sad about it. He was glad to see Thomas was leaving the railway. He was glad to see he's grown up, and Timothy assured him that everything will be fine. Soon, Thomas took a little pause and continued the story. Sodor was a very fine place. For him, his driver and fireman, and even though Thomas was glad to be on Sodor, he still felt a little bit guilty leaving all his brothers behind. And at the time, he missed all of them so much so that his driver and fireman would send letters to them. But, well, they never got a response. But one day, they finally got a response. They got a response they weren't expecting. It was some news on Timothy, and the letter said, "On a rainy day, when Timothy was taking his train, everything was smooth. The rails were good, his fire was good, his speed was good, everything was going well. But little did Timothy knew that on that line, there was an unfinished bridge, and everything happened at once. Timothy tried his best to stop, but it was just too late. He fell off the bridge, plummeting to his death. Luckily, there was no passengers on the train, and his fireman and driver jumped out clear, and then Thomas took another pause. As Thomas took his pause, Gordon regretted belittling Thomas. The next day, Thomas was taking his coaches, Annie and Clarabelle, to Elsbridge, and when he stopped at Elsbridge, he heard a familiar whistle. It was Gordon pulling into Elsbridge. When he saw Thomas, he apologized to Thomas about his, well, boasting about his brothers, and felt sorry that Thomas had to go through that. Thomas forgave Gordon, but Thomas soon learned that his brother Timothy was right. He was right about taking opportunities when they were presented. And Thomas soon realized that Sodor is a place he would never regret coming to. And the last scene shows Timothy and then disappears. This story was honestly beautiful and heartwarming. As someone who lost a family member a while back, this story really does relate to me. A lot. The only complaint I have about this story is, well, the voice acting. Don't get me wrong, I feel like the voices do fit the characters a lot, but it just feels like the voice actors are just, well, reading off a script. I feel like if it was a bit more lively, then the story would be perfect. Nonetheless, nothing is really perfect anyways. Complaints aside, I really do love a lot of the camera shots. Since this was filmed in trains, I like how Markland used trains' full camera advantage. Not only that, but the music and sound effects were also pretty good. Please guys, give this a watch. It was an amazing video, and I feel like videos like these should get a lot more love. Anyways, last and final video. Next video is a speed paint video, where it's just, well, a speed paint of Timothy the Ghost Engine. Made by Magic Apungu. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Here's what the final results is. And honestly, this is the best Timothy drawing I've probably ever seen. I mean, honestly, I could look at this drawing for hours and hours and not get bored. That's all I really wanted to say. I don't really have that much complaints about this since I'm not an artist myself anyways. Time for the conclusion. And well, that's the end of today's video. Honestly, Timothy the Ghost Engine is certainly our biggest rabbit hole to be in. I mean, first starting as a funny face to look like David Mitten, to a famous creepypasta, to a point where someone found that David Mitten face and said that it's Timothy's face, to a character named Timothy in the actual show, to a fan-made movie, and all the way to 2025 where he is still famous even after all these years. Honestly, I think Timothy is one of the most famous OCs in the Thomas fandom. This entire story was such a train ride to be in. No pun intended, of course. And honestly, it still makes me wonder if the Band Killer 135 and the Iron Engine are still around and if they know the impact they have done. Timothy is not the best OC, but I feel like Timothy sets the ground for OCs. I mean, almost nobody really showed off their OCs until Timothy was a thing. And don't get me wrong, there was still people who showed off their OCs, but it was very little. Not only that, but Timothy also started the entire E2 recolor OCs thing. I sometimes wonder if Timothy was not a thing, would people still be showing their OCs? Probably. Anyways, that's the end of today's video, everyone. Happy Halloween, I hope you guys have a good one.